Hello and welcome to Creator Chat, a series where I interview different creators, allowing them to share their favorite games and to put a spotlight on whatever project they are working on. This is the 5th interview so far for this series, and today we'll be chatting with the creator of Heretic Squad, known as Shackfu. Alright, we'll get right into it. For the audience, who are you and what do you do?
Hey, I am Shackfu, also known as deadstroyer. I go by both. And I am the creator of Heretic Squad on Roblox.
Can you give a brief explanation of what Heretic Squad is?
So Heretic Squad is kind of hard to describe. It's like a co-op side-scrolling shooter, roguelike, like strategic but also fast-paced game. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but it's a game where you play as police officers fighting against like an evil cult, and it's kind of easier to just like watch gameplay of it to understand it than it is to explain it.
Okay, before we get too deep into Heretic Squad, what are some of your favorite Roblox games and game genres?
So I love Rogue Lineage. Rogue Lineage is like by a lot my favorite game of all time on Roblox. I could talk about it for a long time. It honestly changed me as a person. I don't think there's any other game that provides like the same experience that Rogue Lineage does. There's a bunch of like copycats that seem to like churn out every couple months, but I don't think they really understand what it is that makes Rogue Lineage special. Like most of them try to add like RPG mechanics like mob farming or leveling up and stuff, but that stuff kind of just waters down the like core Rogue Lineage experience. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of Blood, Sweat, and Pixels lately. I like more recently Nullscape and PARKOUR Reborn, really good as well. I have a lot of games that I like. As for genres, I don't know. I just kind of play like a bunch of anything. I guess I like a lot of RPGs like Pilgrammed and stuff.
Very cool. I think you're the first person to mention actually paid access games. Rogue Lineage still paid access, right?
Yeah, it is.
I played it a long time ago. I haven't touched it since, but fun experience.
Yeah, it's very hit or miss. Most people will hate it, but some people will love it a lot. I'm one of those people.
Oddly enough, it was opposite for me. When it came to Deep Woken, I couldn't get with it. It was way too much water everywhere for the exploration aspect.
Yeah, Deep Woken is more of just like a traditional RPG. Like, I could tell they didn't want to make like Rogue Lineage 2. They wanted to make something different, but it's not really for me. I don't think as much. I mean, I like Deep Woken, but I just don't like it as much as Rogue Lineage.
Alright, from your favorites to now your least favorites, what are some of your least favorite games and genres?
Least favorites, I mean, I don't know. I don't like, obviously, like idle games. I mean, there are some ways to make those games fun, but most of the ones on Roblox aren't really. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't really like platformers, I guess. I do like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to answer because like there's good examples and bad examples in like all genres. Like there's some really, really good platformers, but then there's also the ones that I don't like. So it's kind of hard to pick one genre that I don't like.
Yeah, I think it's very silly. Everyone that I've asked the question to usually goes to simulators or idlers as the least favorite.
I have played idlers that are good, like not on Roblox. There's this one game called Norp Apolog that's a clicker game, but it's actually like really fun and interesting. It actually requires like strategy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Roblox idlers, but I have played a few on my own in the past, off on Steam and whatnot, just to see what they're about or something cozy for like my other half of my brain to be focused on while I'm working on something. But Roblox idlers just really don't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, they're made for like the mobile audience on Roblox. Like they want something simple that's like easy to play in the background maybe, but like I guess for people who want to play like actual games, they're not really made for, you know, those people.
Alright, let's get back to Heretic Squad. Who works on the project, or is it a solo dev project?
It's pretty much entirely me. I commission people occasionally for stuff. Like, for example, the soundtrack is composed entirely by Masked, which, if I do say so myself, he does an absolutely incredible job on it. The game would not be the same without him. But yeah, other than that, I'm like the only person that works on the game like most of the time.
You did everything? Animations, artwork, mechanics?
Yep, not the art. The art is commissioned, but like yeah, for most like for stuff other than like art and music and like some of the sounds, like that's all me. Yeah.
Very cool.
And even some of the art, I do that as well when I need to.
Alright, Heretic Squad is a really unique game when it comes to the Roblox platform. What inspirations did you have when creating the game, if any?
So I don't really have any main inspirations. I honestly actually kind of try to avoid like taking too much inspiration from other stuff because I think it's just more fun to like try to come up with stuff on your own. I mean, I know like all art is derivative or whatever, but like there's levels to that, you know. Like some stuff is there's a difference between like a absolute like clone and something that's more original. But if I had to pick one thing that like was a fairly big inspiration, it'd be Not a Hero, which is a game on Steam made by Roll7, which sadly they got shut down. But it's also a side-scrolling shooter game. It's pretty different. It's like level-based, but I really liked how that game was like the side-scrolling shooter like aspect to it made it so that you didn't really have to focus on stuff like aiming or like your movement. It's just very simple, but it leaves more room to focus on like the strategy. So you choose like when to take cover, when to like slide into enemies, which also the sliding and cover are mechanics that I pretty much directly like took, but I changed them quite a bit for Heretic Squad. But yeah, that game like gave me the idea to make something that was like both fast-paced and strategic at the same time, because I think that's like really fits well with the side-scrolling shooter like style. But I wanted to lean more into the strategic aspect because that game is more of like a speed running kind of game. Like the levels aren't really randomly generated or anything. It's kind of just you like memorize where all the enemies are, and then you can just like repeat the same steps every time you restart.
I thought it sounded familiar, Not a Hero. I've taken a look at it a long time ago. I've never played it, but it looked interesting.
It's pretty fun. I like it.
Was Heretic Squad your original goal when starting out, or did you have something else kind of planned and this drifted into existence?
The idea for Heretic Squad has been, it kind of morphed like a lot before I started working on it. Like I had an idea for, I don't know, I don't really remember exactly what it was, but like I just know that the idea like drifted around in my head and like changed a lot. And then eventually like I started working on it around like, I think it was 6 years ago. But by that point I already had like a pretty good idea of what I wanted the game to be. I knew I wanted it to be like a game where you play as police, like a side-scrolling shooter, and I wanted it to be like, you know, strategic and stuff. But there are a lot of like there's a lot of stuff that I had planned that didn't end up happening, and a lot of stuff that did, like that I experimented with it, that I did find really interesting, that I wanted to incorporate in the game. Like biggest thing being the momentum mechanic. Like originally, like the very early prototypes didn't have momentum. You just like started at like nothing and then you went up to max speed instantly, and it made the game not fun to play. It was very simple. You just like ran around and shot people and like slid into them, and like sliding was pretty overpowered and there wasn't really much interesting going on. But then as soon as I added momentum, it kind of clicked. Like there's a lot more strategy. You got to manage like whether or not you want to like run into a group of enemies. Like that's not really an option in all situations anymore, because if you get shot, like you're gonna lose momentum and then you'll get stuck, and then enemies can kind of just pin you down. So you have to choose like when you want to be aggressive, when you want to be defensive. And I think it's like maybe like the biggest mechanic in the game, like the thing that defines how the game plays the most.
All right, throughout the development of the game, what major points or memories do you have when getting to this point?
One big point was when the soundtrack originally got released. That was like the first time when people other than like my direct friends like started playing the game. I don't know if there was really many people like before that I didn't like know beforehand that were playing it, but like once like Mask uploaded the soundtrack to his channel, like a bunch of his listeners came and started playing, and it was really cool like seeing other people like actually like join a Discord server talking about how they think the game is super cool. And yeah, that was awesome.
I personally enjoy roguelike games, so when it comes to top-down 3D side-scroller, it doesn't matter all too much for me. A side-scroller roguelike on Roblox is pretty rare. Did people enjoy this aspect of the game, or was it something that people couldn't get with?
I think people, it's the fact that it's so like different, it kind of turns away a lot of people. I think especially the momentum, like people find it weird that you like slipping and sliding around. I get a lot of complaints about that sometimes, but I think more so than that though, also I get a lot of complaints about like the roguelike aspect. I think maybe because of like how you return to the station after each mission, the structure of it kind of makes people expect that you that it wouldn't be a roguelike. It's kind of different. Like, you know how most roguelikes, you just start a run and then it goes until you either win or you die. But in Heretic Squad, instead, you complete a mission, then you go back to the station and then you start another mission. So it's kind of a different structure. So people expect it to be like your stuff saves, but it doesn't. You die and you lose everything. So a lot of people get frustrated by that. But I don't think I want to change it. I like it the way it is like that because I like how you return to the station and like you get to like you see everybody else in there and like just manage all your inventory and stuff. And I just think that part is kind of cool. And I also don't want to change like the mechanics, the controls. I think they're kind of necessary to be like that, the way that they are. But I don't know. For mobile players though, I do want to kind of work on the controls because I don't really play mobile games, so I don't really know how to design mobile controls that well, and I get a lot of complaints about that.
On the topic of rare mechanics and game genres, mainly pointing at side-scrollers, for Roblox at least, are there any that you would like to see more of on Roblox?
I want to see more games that are like, that aren't like distinctly Roblox. Like Roblox games are kind of like an Ouroboros. They just like take inspiration from each other and they like do the same tropes. Like after Rogue Lineage released, like every RPG game had like the same exact combat that is exactly the same as Rogue Lineage and the same mechanics and stuff, and they just didn't. It's still pretty much the same as that. And you also have all these games that like not a lot of games like trying to change like the default Roblox like controls and character stuff. Like I think there's a lot of room for games that are like more just trying to be like, you know, normal games. Like they don't have to be Roblox games. You could just make like a game that doesn't seem like it's meant for Roblox on Roblox, and I think there's a lot of room for that. Because, you know, all these games, they just have like the default Roblox humanoid characters and like they kind of play the same, and I don't really like it too much. But I have seen a lot that are more recently trying to do something different. And I always appreciate that. I always respect that.
So overall, just more games that branch out into different aspects rather than sticking to the Roblox formula.
Yeah, and yeah, because it seems like pretty much the majority of Roblox games are kind of just like mainly trying to be like other Roblox games. I mean, there is a good amount of innovation more recently. I like that, but I think there's still a lot of room for more like growth, more innovation.
To me, Heretic Squad looks pretty straightforward. Hop into a match, win, make some progress. Other games might have difficulty options and game modes. How does progression go hand in hand with the difficulty of the game?
I don't plan on adding any kind of difficulty or game modes or anything, because I kind of like roguelikes that are like you just jump in and play it and it's like one single difficulty, because I think I mean, as you get better at the game, you'll naturally start getting to the like later sections. Like that's kind of how the difficulty curve works. Like if you're bad at the game, you'll eventually get better just by like replaying the earlier. Well, in Heretic Squad, the progression is in difficulty levels, quote unquote. It's not like an easy or hard mode, but it's like as you like level up, you'll do higher difficulty missions. So like you'll start out doing the lower difficulty missions, and then I think it's fine that you'll just like, a lot of people will kind of get stuck on the lower difficulties, but eventually, like if they keep replaying them enough, they'll get good enough to get to the higher difficulty levels. And I think that's how it should be. I think rather than having different difficulty levels, just have it so that your own skill progression is what like gets you to the higher difficulty stuff.
So for the game itself, progression is connected to level, and level determines the difficulty of the mission or which missions you'll be thrown into?
Yeah, it's the difficulty is directly like related to what level you are or your squad level. It's a little bit like weighted towards the higher level person in the squad, so that like so that they aren't like playing super, so that like the higher level people aren't playing like as soon as they join a squad with low levels, they're instantly playing like super easy missions. I wanted to make it so that like a high level person can squad up with lower level people and they're not like just bored by easy missions.
Couldn't a high level player wipe a lobby then by doing that?
I mean, they could, but like I think in most cases they can probably like carry them. And also, if you're a low level player, like joining up with a high level player, you should probably expect that you're gonna get into a difficult mission. But like, yeah, it's I think it's just more fun like that. I think it's more balanced, yeah, because otherwise high level players aren't gonna want to join up with low levels at all. They're not, and they kind of need to in order to teach them how to play the game. That's kind of the idea, at least. I don't know if it really works like that in practice, but that's my idea, is that like this encourages high level players to want to squad up with low levels. Because if it wasn't like that, then you're reversing your progress, like because you get like less XP and stuff from lower level missions. So I don't think high levels would want to join up with low levels.
There are a ton of different traits and items in the game. What are your favorites?
Personally, I love Divine Artillery. I think that was the most fun to make. You probably haven't seen it, but it's like one of the traits. It's a trait that you unlock by reaching tier 2 corruption, which is a whole other mechanic. But it pretty much makes it so that any enemy that has a mark on them, which is like a thing that you can do with certain other traits or items, it makes them like appear on the minimap. It lets you click on any marked enemy on the minimap, and then you start like charging up this big beam that shoots down and instantly kills them. That was like really fun to come up with, really fun to make, like all the effects for it and stuff. And I think it's just a really interesting and fun idea. Like you literally just turn into like an artillery machine, just shooting down enemies while your squad mates go and mark them on the map for you. And for items, I really like the belts, all of them. The belts are really fun. They just change the way your slide works. So for instance, the martial artist belt changes your slide into a drop kick that can hit multiple enemies and does damage. Or you have the riot shield, which, I mean, technically it's not a belt, but it goes in the belt slot and it replaces your slide with like a shield move that lets you block all damage. So you can like protect your squad mates behind you, and you can also shield bash enemies by running into them. So belts are really fun to make, really fun to design, and come up with stuff for them. I love those.
Heretic Squad has some very neat mechanics. Can you give a rundown on how the corruption system works?
So the corruption system is, I came up with it a while ago. There's, so it's pretty much like certain traits and items increase your corruption like percent by a certain amount. And once you reach like 25% or 50% or 75% corruption, then you go up a tier level. And at each tier, you have to pick a debuff that is like very debilitating. Like one of them is like it spawns this enemy that chases you around the map forever and it can't be killed. And if it touches you, you get downed instantly. The idea behind that is that items and traits that are like very, they change the way your build works a lot. They will give you corruption. One of the items that gives corruption is the vortex treads. It makes it so that all the knockback you take is reversed. So the idea is that you'll build your build around like very specific like high corruption traits and items, but you'll only have like a couple of them because you don't want to get high corruption. However, if you like know what you're doing, you can try to make a build that like uses a lot of high corruption stuff, and you'll have like a very wacky, unbalanced build, but you'll have to find a way to like deal with the corruption debuffs. But if you know what you're doing, you can make it work. But for most players, you just want to like try to avoid getting too much corruption. But a lot of the corruption items and traits are very powerful, so you want to get like at least a couple.
Throughout developing the game, were there any major challenges or unexpected difficult tasks you had to go through?
Refactoring old code is always like super annoying. Like the game, so Heretic Squad is literally the first like actual game I've ever made. I did make some stuff like in high school for like class projects, but Heretic Squad is pretty much my first real game. So a lot of the code is very, very old, and it doesn't really, it's kind of bad. It's written poorly and it doesn't really work well. So I have to a lot of the times go through and refactor stuff to like work better and be easier to like read and work with.
Out of all of the mechanics in the game, what was your favorite to work on?
I don't know, that's kind of a broad question. Maybe like, I already talked about corruption, but I also like the unstable portal. That's kind of a more recent one. But basically, in missions like above difficulty 1, there's a small chance that a portal can spawn in like a random spot on the map. And if every squad mate like interacts with it, then it starts a like an event where you have to survive for 4 minutes while waves of enemies just spawn in, and you have to survive on like the small little like area. Actually, the main reason that I started working on that was because I wanted to commission masks for more music, and I thought it would be cool to have a song for like a specific like section. So I'd started working on that earlier than I maybe would have, just so that I could commission a song for it. And it is a pretty good song, and I think it fits really well. But yeah, it's cool to like make like the map. I'm not really the best like map builder, but like the little area that you fight on during the unstable portal. And I think it's kind of a pretty cool mechanic. I think there's more that can be added to it though, because like it's kind of samey, and like you pretty much just do nothing but like survive enemies for 4 minutes. So I could make it maybe more interesting. Maybe if like the map shifts over time while you're surviving, like new sections get added and removed, that would be cool. But it would take kind of a while to add that. So maybe that's like later down the line.
All right, we're getting to the end here. As a developer, do you have any advice to someone trying to become a developer?
Just start. Like the only way to get good at making games, just like start working on anything, and also get feedback, get people playing your game as soon as possible. Because even if you're someone like me that's super stubborn about not wanting to change anything about your vision, it's important for literally every developer to get feedback. Especially what's helpful is videos of people playing the game. So like easiest way to get that is like get a YouTuber or a streamer to play the game, because it's way more like telling to watch somebody play the game, see how they play it and how they react, than it is to like just read feedback that somebody sends you like in text format. Like you could tell a lot more. You can see like whether or not they notice certain things, and like just like how their play style is as a new player. It's very, very helpful.
Not gonna lie, I'm blind as hell. I don't know if my streams have helped.
No, yours help. Remember, I saw a bug that I didn't notice before, which that's kind of because I don't really. I guess I didn't test enough, but it's helpful, and it's also just like nice to like see people react to the game, and just like it's nice to know that it's not just your own biases. Like telling it's nice to know that there are other actual people, what they think of the game.
All right, we have reached the end. Do you have any final mentions that you would like to say, or anything currently happening that you would like to promote?
I don't think there's anything that I really want to like promote or anything, but I do want to say like I'm hoping that I can work on the game more over this summer. I know I haven't really been updated a lot kind of recently. I've been very busy with my job and with college, but over the summer I should have definitely a lot more time to work on the game. So yeah, expect more stuff soon maybe.